Hi, everybody. I hope this finds you well and happy and full of joy, as much joy as you can muster right now. We know that the country is still upside down, but I just kind of wanted to come on here and offer a little bit of encouragement um, to tell you no one knows what they're doing. I know that you think that there are pros out there who are like killing it. I know that you think that you're not good enough. I know that you think that your art or your whatever doesn't add up to what other people are doing, and I'm here to tell you that nobody knows what they're doing. Everybody's just trying to figure it out one day at a time. Like, that's it. They just try. They're just trying. And that's the only difference, is that they're trying in public. They're trying in public because you can see it. And so you're going to compare your stuff to their stuff and be like, oh, well, it's not that as good as this person's or whatever. But the person has committed to the process. The person has committed to allowing themselves the opportunity to try. And we haven't, right? We've been sitting here like, I don't know. I don't want to put myself out there. I'm too afraid. I'm too scared. And again, I'm here to tell you that they don't know what they're doing. You look at the people who have looked back in history and have given categories to certain art, right? Like minimalism or minimalist art, sorry, or impressionism. Like, all these things are made up. I know that we've been taught to think like, oh, this is the classic, these are the classic categories and all this other stuff. This is art. This is soul. This is pop. These categories are made up. They are made up by people who went back in time and said, you know what, this is kind of like this. They made it up. They didn't know what they were doing. There was no guidebook to how to categorize art, so they had to create their own. They had to create their own categories. And in the same way, you have the privilege and the honor and also the autonomy to be able to categorize your own art. You have permission. You have permission to just do it. You have permission to just try. You have permission to make a mess. You have permission to not be perfect. You have permission to do anything you want. Anything you want, anything you want to create, anything you want to make, anything you want to sell, anything you just want to gift to people. Like, you have permission because no one knows what they're doing. And these people that you worship and that you like, use as a measuring stick for yourself, they didn't know what they were doing at some point. They just tried and they figured out, oh, I like this. I like this. I like this kind of art. Picasso, like, and of course I'm using him because it's just like a general example. It's like, oh, I like this. And then he changed his mind later. You know what? I like this now. Like, even changing your mind, like, don't be afraid to change your mind. Don't be afraid to try or to be stuck in one thing. Do everything. Do it all. Do it all. Like, if it comes to your heart, why not try it? And it doesn't have to be on a large scale. It could just be for fun, like finger paint if you want to finger paint. What's the problem with that? Like, what's wrong with that? Why is it a lesser version of art? Who says? Who made these rules? And if they did make these rules, why do we have to follow them? That's silly. Because they didn't have to follow rules. They just did what they wanted to do. We're taught, we're taught with as an artist, this is the standard and this is what you have to do. This is the thing you have to meet, the bar you have to meet. This is what's required of artists. This is what like the process should be. Like, we've all taken that art class where we learn like shading and like what is it, hatching or whatever. And it's like, this is the standard. This is perfection. And it's like, bump all that. Why you want to be perfect? Why don't you just want to be you? I felt, just personally, I felt that me trying to fit in boxes was like bondage. It was like I was trying to make myself small enough to fit in this box so that I'm accepted by everybody. And you know what? I just want to be a mess. I just want to be, I just want to have fun. I want to be free. And to me, being free is not taking those things as rules, but as suggestions. Oh, I could do that. Or I can make a different version of that. Or I don't have to hatch all together. I could just figure out how to shade myself. Why is that the standard? I can break all the rules. That's the thing about art. Art is up to you. It's so funny because we go to school and we're taught to be judged. We're taught to, I don't know, try to live up to this whatever expectation. And we take art classes and then our art is graded. So it's even, the fun is even taken out of that, right? To be like, oh, well, my art has to be something to be graded. Is this good enough? Is this whatever? And really, it's all good enough. It's all amazing. It's all beautiful. If you did what you want to do authentically and happily and joyfully, and what you created brought you joy, that's enough. That's enough. That's perfection. That's the point. That's the point of it all. Art is for enjoyment. Art is to make the world better, to make the world more fun, to make the world more free, enjoyable. Like, we have things that have rules that don't change, like math. You know what I'm saying? Like that stuff that's like, no matter what country you're in, no, 2 plus 2 equals 4. I mean, but then that could be debated too, because apparently 2 plus 2 don't have to equal 4, because it depends. But anyway, on a basic level, I'm not a mathematician, so don't. On a basic level, 2 plus 2 equals 4 in any country, anywhere. 2 plus 2 equals 4, and and I'm sorry, I'm laughing because I'm thinking about this ad that I saw on the side of the road, and it was like 1 plus 1 equals 3, meaning like if two people have sex, they have a baby, it's like 3. Anyway, but math. So like that stuff, there's rules for that. You know what I mean? And I say this even about English. English is like, yes, it has rules, but the rules were created by the majority. And so there are so many different sects of English. Like, again, because I'm Black, AAVE, African American Vernacular English. Like, we've created our own style of speaking, our own style of English, and we get it. And people think that, oh, this doesn't have rules, it doesn't have formulas that you're supposed to follow. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. It does. It just doesn't look like what the majority says it should look like. Things like double negatives or whatever. It makes sense to us. We know what we mean. You know what I'm saying? We know what that means. Ain't nobody got time for that. Ain't nobody got money for that. We know what that means. No one has money for this. And so just because you don't understand it doesn't mean it's not valid or that it's not real, right? But for the people who belong in that community, African Americans, Black people, like, we know what that means. We know. We don't need you to come in and tell us that that's not correct English. We don't need you to do that because you created the rules, but we created the rules for ourselves. And I find AAVE beautiful because it's us. It's us, and it's from it's our own creation. And so in the same way, your art is your own creation. You can do whatever you want to do and call it art. No one knows what they're doing. Even English rules don't make sense to me sometimes, because I'm like, what? The way that we spell stuff don't make sense. Why does Colonel sound like Colonel, but there's no R's in it? They're breaking their own rules. Like, you're breaking your own rules. And so your own rules don't stand, right? Artists, their own rules don't stand. People had to come up with categories to fit things like mixed media in there, with the new wave of like vector art, like illustration, which I'm getting into, which is really fun. People had to create these things and create these rules or whatever, and there are tutorials out there. And it's like, people are so quick to put rules on things. Don't worry about the rules. Just do it. Do what feels right. Do what feels good. If you need to figure out how to do something, then I would recommend you going and seeking out a tutorial or something. But right away, just do what feels natural for you, what feels like perfection for you, or feels like fun, and creativity for yourself. Don't be looking at other people and judging your stuff and finding reasons to find fault with it, or reasons why it's not good enough or whatever. It's not true. It's a lie. It's all made up. Everything is made up. Somebody, like, nothing is real. Somebody had to come up with rules and with, even laws. You know what I'm saying? People had to come up with this stuff on their own because it didn't exist. Everyone's making it up as they go. Everybody's figuring out as you go. And you should have grace with yourself enough to be able to figure out what you're doing as you go. And that's my whole point here. That's all I'm saying. Have grace with yourself. Have fun. Enjoy the process. Do what you want to do. Don't look at these things. Don't look at these rules unless you want to create art just like this person, which is, why would you want to do that, right? I feel like you can be inspired by other people, but if you want to create something like someone else, fine. I mean, some people can do that just for fun, whatever. I plan on doing that in the future with my own art, like try to make a song like this person, or try to make, art like this person. But other than that, be yourself. Do what feels good. If it feels good to copy, I guess, you can copy, but why not just give yourself space and time and permission to explore and to try and to not be perfect. So that's all I have for you today. Thanks so much for watching, for listening. Please show your support by subscribing or following or sharing with somebody else. And until next time, y'all, stay safe, stay free, and love yourself. Okay?